Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to break down a really fascinating framework for handling something every single one of us deals with, personal offense. Let's get right into it.
You know that feeling, right? When someone does something that hurts you, and you just can't stop replaying it over and over in your mind? It can feel like you're completely stuck, just caught in this loop of anger and resentment. It's like you're in a trap.
And what's so interesting is that this feeling of being trapped is actually baked right into the original word. The source material we're looking at points to the Greek word for offense, scandalon. It literally means a trap, a snare, or a stumbling block. So when you start thinking of offense not just as a hurt feeling, but as an actual trap, well, that changes the whole game.
Okay, so if offense is a trap that's designed to trip us up, the big question becomes, how do we avoid it? How do we break free? Let's explore the way out.
The source we're digging into today, which pulls from some pretty ancient wisdom texts, lays out a clear, 5-part strategy. And it's all built on making deliberate choices, not about pretending you're not hurt, but about actively choosing a path that leads to real freedom.
So, how does this actually work? Well, before we get to the ultimate key, the text sets the stage with 4 foundational choices. Think of these as the essential groundwork you've got to lay first. The whole framework kicks off with these 4 key decisions. First up, you have to actively choose to let the offense go. Second, you got to resist that really powerful urge to get even, and instead trust that justice will be handled by a higher power. Third, you humble yourself and make sure pride isn't the one calling the shots. And fourth, you make a conscious choice not to act or speak from that place of hurt.
Now, those 4 steps are absolutely crucial for getting your heart in the right place, but the source argues that they all lead up to one final, powerful choice that really acts as the ultimate antidote.
And that 5th choice is love. Now, I know what you might be thinking. That sounds a little simple, maybe even a bit cliché. But hang on, because the source defines love here in a very specific and honestly, a very challenging way.
This idea is captured perfectly in this verse from the source text. It says, "He who loves his brother abides in the light, and there is no cause for stumbling in him." And there's that word again, stumbling. That's our old friend scandalon, the trap. So the text is making a direct link here. Love is what makes you trap-proof.
And this is so key. The love being described here isn't some passive emotion that just happens to you. The source is crystal clear. It's a deliberate action. It is a choice you make, something you actively do, especially when you don't feel like it.
Okay, so what does this love in action actually look like when you've been offended? The text gets super practical about the actual behaviors this choice leads to.
This comparison from Proverbs just lays out the 2 paths so brilliantly. Hatred just throws fuel on the fire, you know? It stirs up more conflict. But love does the exact opposite. It covers all sins. It seeks to de-escalate, to contain the damage, and to start healing the situation.
So what does it mean to cover a transgression? Here are the action items from the text. You refuse to gossip about it. You don't badmouth the person to other people. You actively avoid saying things that would drive them away from their friends. It's all about loving in deed and truth, not just paying lip service to the idea of forgiveness.
And the second quote from Proverbs really hammers home the social consequences. Repeating the matter, dwelling on it, talking about it all the time, it just breaks relationships. But choosing to cover it is presented as the active pursuit of love.
But there's a huge catch here. According to the text, this can't just be a performance. The love has to be without hypocrisy, a genuine, authentic choice that comes from the heart, not just some mask you wear while you're still simmering with resentment underneath.
Okay, so that's the framework. And yeah, it is definitely not easy. So you might be asking, what's the payoff? Why would anyone choose this really difficult path of active love? Well, the source is very clear about the promised outcome.
And this, to me, is the most powerful part of the whole argument. This entire process, all 5 choices, it isn't ultimately for the benefit of the person who hurt you, it's for you. It does release the offender, yes, but more importantly, it releases you from the scandalon, from the trap.
And the source describes this incredible state of freedom with 3 really powerful words.
Clean, clear, and free. Your heart becomes clean of all that bitterness, it's clear of resentment, and you are finally free from the trap of offense. That is the promised result of walking this path.
So, we'll leave you with a final question that comes from the source itself. What would it actually look like in your life to live above the line of offense? It's a really challenging idea, but definitely one worth thinking about. Thanks so much for joining us.